So if you're watching this the day after the elections in the United States. And without getting partisan about this at all, one side is really bummed. One side is really bummed. And one side believes it just got handed a big old bag of lemons. And it's freaked out, it's upset, it's frustrated, and it's probably angry. So that's kind of an exaggerated version of what happens when life hands you a whole bunch of lemons. But we deal with that every day in our lives. I'm sure you have felt at some point in your life that you're wading through not just a bag of lemons, but maybe a swimming pool of lemons. So what do we do about that? Well, you know the old saying, if life hands you a bunch of lemons, make lemonade. Now, if you're like me and you don't particularly love lemonade, then make up something else. Make up some other delicious treat that you might like lemon bars. I love lemon bars in the summer especially. So I think of it as making lemon bars. So that's the short answer, but I'm going to get into more detail about how that really looks and what that means in just a little bit. So let's talk a little bit more about the fact that life is always handing us lemons. Some are bigger than others, some are riper than others, some smell. I mean, we get all kinds of lemons in our lives, and we've all dealt with it. And at this particular moment in history, in world history, I think we believe that we're getting more lemons than usual. And so the problem with that is that we're overwhelmed by lemons. I mean, it is now way beyond a bag of lemons. It is a swimming pool of lemons. The world is on fire, literally and figuratively. We have wars in the world. We've had inflation. We've had a pandemic in the last 5 years. We've had all kinds of things coming at us. And I think there's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and there's a lot of anger, as I said earlier. So it's not going to do any good to wallow in the lemons. It's not. It's not going to be comfortable either if you're in a swimming pool and you got a bunch of lemons around you. Just saying, not comfortable. So what do we do with that? Well, interestingly enough, it occurred to me that with all the difficulties I've had in my life, that the one thing I have really learned how to do is make lemon bars. And I've had to do that a lot of times because life has handed me out a lot of lemons. Now, not the most amount of lemons anyone's ever had, certainly not. But I've had my fair share, let's put it that way. Some of it from fate and life, just getting in the way, and some of it was of my own making. But the point is, there's been a lot of lemons. So I've had a lot of experience with this. So one of the things that prompted me to start this YouTube channel almost 2.5 years ago now was a bunch of lemons. It was feeling very poor in my life, feeling like I didn't have a sense of purpose. It was feeling kind of trapped in my own poverty with, I got benefits and stuff, but it was like, it's like you're trapped in this velvet prison. And I've talked about that in other videos. But I felt on a bigger level, more than the financial, I felt like I needed a sense of purpose. I needed something to make me get up every day with excitement about what I was doing. And that became this YouTube channel. So I was going through a whole bunch of lemons before this started. I mean, from the time I moved here where I lived now 6.5 years ago, I went through a whole year of lemons. And I've gone through lemons ever since. Like I said, most of us deal with a lot of lemons. But this, every time I've ever been faced with them, it always prompts me to do something different. I either, I've gotten a different job, or I've moved to a new place, or I've lived out of my van as I did before I moved here. And the point is that you have to do something at some point. So when I started this YouTube channel, that was my version of making lemon bars. And now I have a whole other lemon situation created by the fact that when you have to change up your life because now you're making a little more money and now you lose certain benefits and you have to adapt to that. That's another lemon situation. But again, I'm approaching it with the same kind of attitude. It's a matter of making the most out of what could potentially be a really bad situation. And so that's really what I'm doing. That's what's going on. The whole YouTube channel was the process of making lemon bars. And every other thing I've done in my life to turn things around has been the same process. Now, does this happen overnight? No, it does not. In fact, here's my best advice to you. If you have, life has just handed you a bunch of lemons. Whether you're upset about the political situation or you're upset about money situation or you're upset about health situation or whatever it is, give yourself a little bit of time to feel the feelings. You know, as the young people say, you got to get all up in your feels. I know, I made you cringe. I know I made you cringe. So the point is, get up in your feels first. Because if you don't feel and you don't get out the initial upset over something, then it's not going to really work to turn it around. You've got to get a little clarity first. So you allow yourself some time, whether it's a couple of days or maybe longer, to just get out everything. And then you reset. You're resetting your brain. And the process of making lemon bars is basically, it's a reframing. It's saying, okay, this is the situation. How can I turn that around and turn it to my advantage? How can I make the most out of a bad situation? Now, going back to when I started this channel, it was interesting. I just did a podcast with someone, and I was explaining this a little bit on the podcast, and it occurred to me, wow, basically what I did was I've turned all my bad life situations that I've ever been through, or that I've done myself, whatever. I've turned it into lemon bars on this channel because I basically, by talking about it and confessing to things and owning up to things and just being real, that makes the lemon bars. Because it stops having the same power over you. What you did in your life stops having the same power over you. So that was part of that process. It wasn't just a matter of starting a YouTube channel. It's what I did with it. And I felt like, you know what? At my age, at this point in my life, why not own up to things? Why not be honest about it? Why not be real? And I can tell you, it has lifted things from my heart. I no longer have as heavy a heart about certain things because I've let the light of day shine on them. And that is huge in this process. So when you're turning the lemons into lemon bars or the dessert of your choice, the point is you've got to do something that really transforms the feeling. What is the essence of the negative aspect of those lemons? You've got to transform that. And the way to do that sometimes is to flip it on its head and just say, okay, I'll just expose that. I'll expose that to the light. When I talked in my video about the shame I felt over certain things in my life, for instance, the relationship with my son or my years that I spent in the wasteland and I gambled, those things carry a lot of shame with them. But the way you heal from the shame is to just expose them to the light. You don't hide them away in the dark anymore. If you hide things away, it just makes it worse. If you hide things away, it just makes it worse. So in these times we're living in right now, that reminds me of the old Kate Wolf song, The Times We're Living In. But the times we're living in right now, this is a time where a lot of us feel like we're being deluged by lemons. So find a way, find your own personal way to reframe that, turn it on its head, and use it. What do you think I'm doing with this video right now? What do you think I'm doing with this video? If I have a lot of feelings about what's going on in the world and I'm frustrated and I'm scared and whatever, then I'm just talking about it. Because what is the point of hiding that? A lot of us are going through the same feelings. A lot of us are going through the same feelings. So that's my message for today. You know, make your lemon delicacy or lemonade, whatever you choose, but start that process and do it. And don't expect the process is going to be immediate. You know, even going on here and sharing something doesn't have an immediate effect to, like, you know, clear the bad taste of the lemon. It's a starting point, and then you have to just continue on that trajectory. So that is my advice for you today. And like I said, I know we're all drowning in some lemons at some point here, depending on your perspective, but we can all turn that around. We can all turn that around. And I hope that you do. And until next time, be well, be kind, keep moving forward, and take care. Bye.